Hi everyone, here's your first video for chapter 3. Lesson 1 is parallel lines and transversals. And after this lesson, you'll be able to find missing angle measures created by intersecting lines. You'll be able to identify congruent angles when a transversal intersects parallel lines. That looks like this. Two parallel lines and a transversal going through it. And then finally, you'll also be able to find angle measures when a transversal intersects parallel lines. So say we know that one of these angles is 120 degrees. Then we'll also be able to find out that this is 70 degrees. The first vocabulary word is vertical angles. Vertical angles are pairs of opposite angles made by intersecting lines. So in this case, angle Y and angle Y would be the same angles. Angle X and angle X would be the same angles. So if we knew that angle X on top was 150 degrees, then we would know that the bottom is also 150 degrees. We would also say if two angles are vertical, then they are congruent, which means they are exactly the same. Supplementary angles are two angles that add up to 180 degrees. They can be adjacent or not adjacent, so they can be touching, connected, or separated. But here we can see that we have a straight line, and we have a line segment splitting that. 60 plus 120 is 180. So we would say angle 1 plus angle 2 has to equal 180 degrees. Lines in the same plane that do not intersect are called parallel lines. So that would be this situation where we have two lines that go on and on forever and they never intersect. Think of railroad tracks. And then lines that intersect at right angles are called perpendicular. So these ones here are called your perpendicular lines, forming a 90-degree angle. And then technically vertical angles, we could say this is 90. And then we could actually take it a step further and we could say, hey, we have corresponding angles. These two angles together add up to 180. So we could say 180 equals 90 plus x. Well, then obviously this equals 90 degrees as well. And a line that intersects two or more lines is called a transversal. When a parallel line is cut by a transversal, several pairs of congruent angles are formed. Here's two parallel lines. A transversal cuts them, and you end up having congruent angles. So for example, this angle is congruent to that angle. This angle is congruent to that angle, and so on. So here are these corresponding angles. When a transversal intersects parallel lines, corresponding angles are congruent. Corresponding angles lie on the same side of the transversal in corresponding positions. I basically think of this as a slide. Going back to our first unit we did this year, if you take this angle and you just slide it right up, it becomes this angle. So for your first example in your notes, let's find the value of x and let's explain why. The angle of x is going to be 50 degrees, and we know that it's 50 degrees based off of vertical angles. In this situation, we have vertical angles again. We know vertical angles are equal, so we're going to set x plus 16 equal to 4x plus 5. And then we're just going to solve this. Take away an x from both sides. And we have 16 equals 3x plus 5. Take away 5 from both sides. 3x equals 11. Divide both sides by 3. We get x equals 3 2/3 or 11/3. Now you try it. When you're ready, push play and I'll talk you through the answers quick. So for the first one, we know that these are vertical angles. And so we'll take x plus 8 and set it equal to 120, because we know this top angle and this bottom angle are the same or equal. Take away 8 from both sides. So x is 112. If we substitute that back in, 112 plus 8 is 120. So we know we got it. Number 2 is even easier. Vertical angles. 70 degrees on the left. The right side must also be 70 degrees. So now let's use corresponding angles to help us find the missing angle measurements. For corresponding angles, we know that angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180 degrees. So we have x plus x minus 6 equals 180. So that's 2x minus 6 equals 180. We'll add 6 to both sides. And we have 2x equals 186. Divide both sides by 2. And x equals 93. So this side is going to be 93 degrees. The other side is going to be 93 minus 6, which is 87 degrees. And 93 plus 87 equals 180. So that's how we solve and check. This one's exactly the same. We know angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 180 degrees. So we have 7q minus 46 plus 3q plus 6 equals 180. We can combine like terms, 7q and 3q, that's 10q. Minus 46 and plus 6 is minus 40, and that equals 180. So let's solve, add 40 to both sides. 10q equals 220. Divide both sides by 10. And q equals 22. So now we'll find the actual angles. 7q minus 46, so we'll do 7 times 22 minus 46. And then we have to compute 7 times 22 is 154. 154 minus 46 is 108. On the other side, okay, so this is 108. On the other side, we have 3 times 22 plus 6. 3 times 22 is 66. 66 plus 6 is 72 degrees. 108 plus 72 is 180. Now you try it. Hit play when you're ready. So this first one, we know that 76 plus 2x plus 4 is 180. So we're going to combine the like terms of 76 and 4 to get 80 plus 2x equals 180. Take away 80 from both sides. So 2x is 100. Divide both sides by 2. X is 50. So the left side is 76. We already knew that. The right side is going to be 2 times 50 plus 4. 2 times 50 is 100. So that's 104 degrees. And we already knew that that side was 76. 104 plus 76 is 180. And for the second one, easier yet, because we have 52 plus x equals 180. So take away 52 from both sides. And we get x equals 128. 128 plus 52 is 180. So now we're doing the same kind of thing, but we're just looking at two parallel lines cut by a transversal. Use the figure to find the measure of angle 1 and angle 2. All right, so we got to think a little bit here. We know that corresponding angles are telling us we have congruent angles. So looking here at this angle, which we know is 110, we could technically just slide that. And then this angle would also be congruent. So based off of corresponding angles, we could say that angle 1 is 110 degrees. And then if we know that angle 1 is 110, then we could use supplementary angles. Because we know that 110 plus angle 2 is 180. So we could take away 110 from both sides. And we get angle 2 equals 70 degrees. Similarly, in this one, we can see that we have two parallel lines cut by a transversal. So we could take this angle and we could just slide it. And we know that these are corresponding. So we know this must be 99 degrees. So we'd say angle 1 is 99 degrees because of corresponding angles. And then from there, we could do our 180 equals 99 degrees plus angle 2. Take away 99. And then we do 180 minus 99 is 81. So angle 2 equals 81 degrees. And we know that angle 2 is 81 degrees based off of supplementary. Now it's your turn for another try it. Use the figure to find the measure of the angle and then explain your reasoning. So we see we have this angle at 63 degrees. And we could do what we've been calling a slide, where we could take that angle and we could bring it right down here to angle 1. So we know that angle 1 is 63 degrees. Because they're corresponding angles. And we know that corresponding angles are congruent. So this is also 63. And then angle number 2 we can figure out by setting 180 equal to 63 plus angle 2. Take away 63 from both sides. So angle 2 then is 180 minus 63, which is 117 degrees. And it's 117 degrees because of supplementary angles. equal 180. So these examples are just a little bit more of kind of the same thing. We're using corresponding angles again. We're using vertical angles, and we're using supplementary angles. Use the figure to find measures of the numbered angles. So right away, I know that angle 1 is 75 degrees. That's because of vertical angles. So I'll mark that as 75. Then angle 2, that's going to be 180 equals 75 plus angle 2. So we take away 75 from both sides, and we get 105 degrees for angle 2. And that is because of supplementary angles. So this is 105. And then we could find out angle 3 two different ways. We could do supplementary angles, but we could also just say vertical angles. Vertical is easier for me. So angle 3 is 105 degrees. And we can say those are vertical angles. And now flipping to the other side, everything here technically could just be a corresponding angle. Angle 5 is going to be 105. And that one is corresponding with angle 2. Angle 6 is going to be 75. That's corresponding to angle 6 is corresponding to the 75 degree angle. Angle 7 is going to be 105. You could say that's vertical. Or you could say that angle 7 is corresponding with angle 3. And then I missed angle 4. Angle 4 is 75. The reasoning, you could say vertical. Or you could say that angle 4 is corresponding with angle 1. For this second example, don't feel like you need to write it down in your notes if you already understand it. I'm going to go through this one a little bit more quickly. We see that we have one angle, and we know that it is 68 degrees. We have two parallel lines split by a transversal, so we can use corresponding angles, which are congruent. We can use vertical angles, and we can use supplementary angles to find all the other angle measures here. So angle 1 is going to be 68 degrees because it's a vertical angle. So therefore, measure 2, angle 2 is going to be 180 minus 68, and 180 minus 68 is 112 degrees, and that is because of supplementary angles. So we have 68 and we have 112, and therefore angle 3 is also going to be 112 because of vertical angles. So then technically 4, 5, 6, and 7 could all be because of corresponding angles, because angle 4 is going to be 68 degrees, because angle 4 is corresponding with this 68 degree angle. Angle 5 is going to be corresponding with this 112 degree angle. Angle 6 will be corresponding with the 68 degree angle, and angle 7 will be corresponding with the 112 degree angle. So these could all be corresponding angles. Now you try it. You may use abbreviations if you want, but please make sure you do give an explanation for why each of these angles measures what it does. Push play when you're ready and I'll cruise through this one. So we know that the first angle in red is 59 degrees. So angle 2 is also going to be 59 degrees because of vertical angles. Angle 1 will be 180 equals 59 plus angle 1. So 180 minus 59 is 121. And that's because of supplementary angles equaling 180. So then angle 3 is going to be 121 degrees. That's because of vertical angles. Angle 4 will be 121 degrees because angle 4 is a corresponding angle with angle 1. Angle 5 is going to be 59 degrees because angle 5 is corresponding to this angle. Angle 6 is going to be corresponding angle with angle number 3. And so that's 121 degrees. And angle 7 is corresponding to angle 2. So that is 59 degrees. Into our next section, we are dealing with parallel lines creating interior and exterior angles. When two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, 4 interior angles are formed. You can see these being 3, 4, 5, and 6, interior meaning inside. And 4 exterior angles are formed on the outside, 1, 2, 7, and 8. We'll use this information to help us solve problems throughout the rest of this lesson. Another key idea is alternating interior angles and alternating exterior angles. So when a transversal intersects parallel lines, alternate interior angles are congruent and alternate exterior angles are also congruent. So you can see that this interior angle and the interior angle on the other side are both going to be congruent. This interior angle and the interior angle on the alternate side or the other side are also congruent. Similarly, the exterior angles will be congruent on opposite sides, congruent on opposite sides. So for examples, in number 3 here, we have angle 1 compared to angle 7. Those are on the opposite sides of your transversal, and they are exterior angles. So we would say these are alternating exterior angles. So then 3 and 5, those are on the opposite sides of the transversal. They are interior angles. So we would say these are alternating interior angles. The photo shows a portion of an airport. Describe the relationships between each angle. So we have 3 and 6. You have your 2 parallel lines, A and B, that are split by a transversal. 3 and 6 are on opposite sides, and they are exterior angles. So we'd say these are alternating exterior angles. And then comparing 2 to 7, opposite sides of the transversal. Inside, so we'd say these are alternating interior angles. In example 3, the measure of angle 4 is 84. Find the measure of each angle and then explain your reasoning. So angle 3 would be out here. So in this situation, we can use supplementary angles, and we'd say 180 equals 84 degrees plus angle 3. So when we take away 84 from both sides, we get 96 equals angle 3. So this angle 3 becomes 96. And then angle 5 here, that would be considered alternating interior angle. So angle 5 would be 84 degrees. And then angle 6 would be alternating exterior angles. So that means that one would be 96 degrees. The stairs have a 45-degree incline. At what angle do you need to attach a rail to two parallel posts so the rail is parallel to the incline of the steps? So in this situation, we know that this angle is 90 degrees and it's split perfectly in half. So that's 45 degrees. So we know that angle 1 is 45 degrees as well. Based off of that fact, we can use corresponding angles to tell us that angle 5 is also 45 degrees. Now we know that angle 2 is 45 degrees because that would be alternating interior angles. And we know that 6 is 45 degrees. And then finally, we can use our definition of supplementary angles. We know that 180 degrees equals 45 plus A. So we take away 45 from both sides. And we get 135 degrees equals A, which means that angle 7 is 135 degrees, angle 4 is 135 degrees, and angle 3 is 135 degrees. So the question was, at what angles do you need to attach the rails? You need to attach the rails so that the measure of angle 5 and 6 are 45 degrees. So angle 5 and angle 6 are 45 degrees. And then angle 4 and angle 7 are 135 degrees. Now it's your turn to try this last one. The ramp has a 16-degree incline, as we can see right down here. At what angle do you need to attach a rail, this rail, to two parallel vertical posts so that your hand railing is parallel to the incline? Explain your reasoning with words like corresponding angles, alternate interior or alternate exterior angles, as well as vertical angles. So here's what I see. We have a 90-degree angle right here. So if that's 90 degrees and 16 of those degrees are used up, then 90 minus 16 gives me 74. So angle 1 is 74 degrees. From there, we know that angle 3 is 74 degrees. Because of corresponding. We can now find angle 2 by using supplementary. Because to find angle 2, we take 180 and we take away 74. So 180 minus 74 is 106. Now we can find angle 4. Angle 4 is 106. Angle 2 was 106, so angle 4 has to be 106 because of alternating interior angles. We know that angle 5 is 74 degrees because of alternating interior angles. So we now know angles 2, 3, 4, 5. We just need 6 and 7. Angle 6. We know angle 6 is going to be 106 because of alternating interior angles. And we know 7 is going to be 74 degrees because of alternating exterior angles. So that wraps up lesson 1 from chapter 3. Good luck with your homework. Make sure to check your answers with the answer key and then use the homework help videos to fix any mistakes you make. Good luck with everything.